Hey guys, JB here, 4x4 diesel apprentice technician. Nah, I just made that title up. Anyway guys, what I wanted to do is show you how to replace what I've highlighted down there, the alternator in a 1KD-FTV, in this case my 2014 Prado 150. So this should be a short video, yeah, I repeat, short, might not be, on how to do that. Alright guys, I'm just going to run through all the tools you're going to need to do this job to pull the alternator out and put it back in again. Possibly a light if you're doing this at night, especially on the side of the road or something. 1/2-inch bar with a 14mm socket, 3/8 inch ratchet, and a 10, 12 and 14mm socket, a hammer. Alright, you might laugh, but mate, when you need to undo that top bolt on the alternator, if there's a bit of corrosion on it, you can give it a tap with this hammer to get that undone. I'll show you how that's done. Bit of anti-seize just to put on the bolt shaft when you put it back in. Look, these are just some sockets I use to get my wheel nuts off, and a torque wrench. Alright, so you can torque everything back up to spec when you're done. Now guys, the reason I had to do this and change the alternator was because my overrunning alternator pulley died. I got a replacement, an aftermarket one, the OAP 058, and unfortunately that didn't fit. That was recommended by Spares Box and a few others, Repco. That one will not fit the alternator in the 2014 1KD anyway. So look, here's my genuine Denso alternator there, ready to go. That's a spare. Right now I've got the OEX brand one in there. It's a good little unit. Not genuine, but it's doing the job. It's a bit bigger, it does 130 amps, so you know that'll charge up a few accessories that I've got as well. But the 100 amp one was fine, so I'm just going to keep that as a spare in case this one packs it in with a bit of mud on some of the trips I've got planned. But look, if you need to replace the pulley, that's the genuine part code there for the alternator. And look, impact wrench as well there, guys, just to quickly undo the bolts, the wheel nuts, sorry, and put them back on. This one isn't strong enough to do them up anywhere near tight enough. You have to use the torque wrench for that. And look, just when you're jacking up the car, got a bottle jack there, and jack stand or axle stand just to support it, because you've obviously got to get under the car. If you're doing this on the side of the road, guys, you could just use a spare wheel, okay? Slide that under the chassis rail, just in case something goes wrong, and it collapses, it's not going to squash you, it'll fall onto the wheel, and hopefully that's as far as it goes. All right, well, let's get started. All right, guys, so I'm just going to start jacking it up. Well, I'm already most of the way there, but just wanted to show you where to position the jack in case you're not sure. Look, just on the chassis rail, right where that cross member comes over, just in front of that. That's pretty much where it shows you to do it in the owner's manual. So just position your jack there and jack it up from that point. All right, guys, so I've got that jacked up, got the axle stand under there supporting it as well. And what we'll do now, mate, I've undone all the wheel nuts, so we'll take the wheel off. All right, nice and easy, shouldn't be too hard. Done, there we go, out she comes. All right, I'll just pop this down for a sec. Sorry about that. Just roll that wheel out of the way. Oh geez, what have we got in there? That looks pretty good. Oh, look at that. Mate, good spot for one of those. Just gonna dig that out. Oh, it's nice and cold. It's obviously been out here in the cold Sydney weather. Crack that open. Brilliant. Have some of that. Now, back to it, guys. So, now we've got the wheel off. If you've got these on your car, you just want to remove these little skirts. So, just get your hand up behind the top of this little plug here, okay? Just push on the back of it. Just comes out, all right? Nice and easy. And you've got one here on the side as well, that one there. Just press on the back of that too. And look, that'll come out. All right, fold that down. You don't need to take any more off, just fold that down, get it out of the way. And you'll see you've got nice, easy access to your alternator there, okay? Now, the next thing you need to do, guys, if you've got bash plates or anything like that on the car, they need to come off as well, just the front one. So I'm just gonna jump under and do that on mine, and then we'll continue from there. All right, got that bash plate off. A little bit grubby from a bit of off-road work up near Lithgow Nunes last weekend. But all right, let's jump under and have a look at how to get the serpentine belt off the alternator. So what you need to do, guys, is just get into position here. You'll see I'm looking straight up at it now. That's the 14mm bolt end that goes through the tensioner pulley, and we want to get a 14mm socket on the end of that. That's the 1/2-inch bar with the 14mm socket. Drop it onto the end of that, and then what you want to do is pull that towards the alternator. So I'll show you how that's done shortly. I just need to go grab the bar. Guys, so got the tools now to get that off. What you want to do is get that 14mm socket over the end of the tensioner pulley in the middle on that bolt. A little bit hard to do here one-handed, but we'll get there. Now you want to come at it from a bit of an angle like this, guys. All right, so you can pull it the right way. Okay, basically we're going to pull it that way. All right, so you'll see what I mean. We're going to get it, and once you get your, make sure that socket's nicely on there. A little bit crappy this, but all right, and then we're just going to push it, all right, that way. And you probably can't see it. It's releasing the tension on that pulley. Okay, so when that's released, you can then reach up with your other hand around this way. Okay, reach up with your other hand over there, and you'll be able to slide that belt off. So I'll see if I can position it so you can actually watch me do that. All right, so here we go. I'm just gonna pull on that tensioner pulley, and you'll see that belt's loosening up. So I'm gonna reach up with my hand here and just slide it off, and bang, too easy. All right, and then you just let that spanner, that bar go back, and now guys, we're halfway there. Okay, so I'll show you the next step shortly. What we're gonna do is you got 2 bolts on the alternator. This bottom one just up in here. All right, I'll point to that shortly. This one here, that's a 12mm bolt. Okay, and the top one is a 14mm bolt. Now I'll just pull it, come out of here, and we'll come around to the side because a little bit easier to work on it up here. Okay, so you want to get your spanners in through there, and once you get it in through there, you'll be able to undo those bolts. Okay, so I'll come back with the right tools and we'll do that shortly. All right, guys, so I should have everything with me to get this out. First thing you want to do is just pop this little plastic cap off the charging cable. There we go. All right, so that just goes back to your fuse box. You need a 10mm socket just to get that out of there. Okay, so just grab that. All right, so we're just going to undo that now, the little 10mm socket. Doesn't take too much. Just loosen it up. You can do the rest by hand, so just reach in there and out it'll come. There we go. So we can just pop that cable off there, push it back. Now there's also the cable that goes to the regulator in the back there. Look, it's just got a little plug, okay, and buttons on the top side, so just push down on the top of it and you can just slide it off the back of the alternator. Shouldn't be too hard at all. Doesn't need a lot of pressure. And there we go, that's almost off. A little bit fun with that glove, so I'll just use my other hand to get in there. It's always the way, isn't it, when you want to try and get something off. Jeez Louise. Happy days. There we go. Alright, so that's off as well now, guys. So that's all the leads going to the alternator. So it's now just those two bolts, the top 14mm bolt and the bottom 12mm bolt. So guys, when I first did this, that 14mm bolt had a bit of corrosion on it, which is probably pretty common because you do get a bit of slop up here when we fall driving and that kind of stuff. So what I had to do was just get a little ball peen hammer in here and just give that bolt, the top one, just a bit of a tap like that, okay? And that broke the corrosion free, and then I was able to get it undone. So what I'm going to do now is just get that 14mm spanner and we'll undo that. So just give me a sec, guys. On there, nice and tight. Okay, we're just gonna, you just have to work at it, guys, to get it out. It does take a little bit of time because you don't have a lot of room to move. But yeah, just keep going until it comes all the way out. It's only got thread on the end, so it probably is, I don't know, about 15mm. The thread on that, the length of it. So you just keep going until you get it undone. Alright guys, so about 4 or 5 minutes later, I finally got that top bolt undone. And now I'm going to go in there and undo the bottom bolt. Same process, guys. Just get in there and you don't have a lot of room to work with again. And just work that undone, okay? Shouldn't take too long. Don't drop the spanner. Alright. Get back in there and keep on going until it comes all the way out. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got those top and bottom bolts undone, so I'm just going to slide them out now. There's the little 12mm one, and I'll take out the 14mm one as well. There we go. Okay, so that's now ready to come out, and the way to get that out, guys, you just have to push this hose up, all right, as you're taking it out, and it actually comes out through this hole here. All right, so I'm just going to do that now. I'll just pop the phone down and I'll show you a little bit more as we go. What you'll notice, guys, is the bottom mount is you know, it's comes free pretty easy, so you'll be able to move the alternator up and down. You just need to wriggle it. All right, just keep on wriggling until she actually comes far enough that it's going to drop out for you. So it's about ready to go now for me. So I'll just get my hands underneath it and we'll slide it out through this hole. All right guys, so you'll see it just comes out through there. A little bit of a tight fit, but it does slide out, and I'll have it out in, you know, 10 seconds. I'll show you it on the ground, and then we'll just put it all back in and show you how to put it all back together. All right, so here it comes. Just be a little bit friendly there. Try not to scratch anything up too much. Bit hard one-handed, but there we go. All right, so that's it. Out of the vehicle. Pretty straightforward, guys. And what we'll do now is go through and put it all back in there and put it all back together, and then yeah, typically I reckon this job is once you've done it a couple of times, no more than 30 minutes work. So yeah, all right, and let's go ahead and whack it back in. Right, so I've slid it back in there. Now what you just want to do is this, just the same way you took it out, just get that top mounting position sort of in place, and then you just need to wriggle it back into position, okay? And then once it looks pretty right, you'll be able to slip that top bolt back in. Now in my case, with those bolts. All right, here's the top one. What I've just done there, guys, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of clean up, but I've just put a little bit of never sees on the shaft. Okay, I'll make sure I get anything off the there's a bit of corrosion again already, a little bit of corrosion there again on the end of that, but just on the shaft, just put a bit of never sees because that's where it seemed to grab the most last time. Don't put anything on the thread, that'll stuff your torque settings, but yeah, just a bit of never sees on the shaft, and that should stop it corroding again. All right, same with the bottom one. If you can, just get a little bit of never sees on that shaft. This one wasn't corroded at all. This one came out nice and easy in my case. Now, as for torque specs on those, I couldn't find anything online, so I went for a bit of a hunt. And where did I put those things, guys? Just bear with me a sec. Oh, guys, so as for torque specs, sorry, I got cut off with a phone call there. I just went with these bolt torque specs that are on the bottom of this little K-on form, and they're pretty much the same as what I could find online for the same diameter bolts. So the top bolt is approximately 10 mil in diameter, and the bottom bolt is approximately 8 mil in diameter. So they're the torque specs that I'm using for the top and bottom bolt. I think I saw 43 on another forum and 23, so 43 for the 10 mil and 23 for the 8 mil. But I couldn't find anything specific from any of the Toyota manuals. So yeah, that's what I've talked it up to. I've had it like that for, you know, the last couple of months. No issues at all with those torque settings. So when you do up your top bolt, 44 Newton meters, and your bottom bolt 22 Newton meters or around about, and you should be pretty good. All right, guys, so I've now got that top bolt and bottom bolt back in. My recommendation is with the top one, get that in first, just get it started, and then you'll be able to line up the bottom one and get that started. And then once they're both started, you'll be able to tighten them both up. All right, guys, so I've just got those bolts back in, top and bottom, on the alternator. As you can see, there's the bottom one, the top one. Now I'm just going to use the little torque wrench I've got here, dial it into 44 and do up the top one, and then dial it into 22 and do the bottom one. All right, so there's the top one, 44, nice and tight. All right, and there's the bottom one all torqued up to spec. All right, guys, so once you've got those two bolts back on and torqued up, just want to put that little charging cable back on and the regulator cable back on. I don't know if it's called the regulator cable, but that's what I'm going to call it anyway. So we'll drop that back on. A little 10 mil bolt goes on the back there. I don't know if I can grab that. There we go. So we'll just do that up, nip that up shortly, put that plug back into the back of the alternator, line it up. There we go, it's clipped on, and put that little cover back over the cable. Next step is to just drop the serpentine belt back over the pulley, and we're all done. Yeah, hunting for it, but found a little cap sitting down in suspension, so it fell off at some point. But that's back on there. And now we'll just jump back under the car and drop that belt back on. All right, so under we go, guys. Now you notice I'm just fun and games. You notice I've left that bar there the whole time. If you've got enough tools, you can definitely do that. So now all I want to do, guys, is just pull that bar across and slide the belt back over. So I'll see if I can sit the phone in a spot where it can record what's going on there. All right, that looks pretty good. A little bit shaky, but doesn't want to sit still. There, guys. There we go. All right, so I'll just reach up with one hand, grab the belt. All right, there's the belt. And we'll pull on that bar just like we did to release it. Okay, just pull it across. Get it across far enough that you can slip the belt back over the pulley. All right, make sure it's all lined up nicely on the idler there. Okay, we can see the idler area there is all nicely lined up. And then you can just release it, guys, and drop that 14mm socket off the end of that, and happy days. Now what we'll do is just go put the wheel back on, drop it down, start it up, and it should be good as new. Alright, now before you get carried away like I almost did, don't forget to put a little skirt back in place. Alright, pretty easy. Put it back up, push those plugs back in, and that's it. That's not going anywhere now. Alright, so I've just got the wheel back on the hub there. Just started off those wheel nuts by hand, and then I'll tighten them up the rest of the way. I'll get them most of the way using this little, Ryobi impact wrench. That'll get them up part of the way, and definitely won't do them up tight enough though. This isn't that strong. And then I'll just use the torque wrench to get them all the way in. I think it's 112 Newton meters is the spec on those. So yeah, just use the torque wrench to finish them off. Yeah, following that, it's just a matter of lifting the car off the axle stand and then dropping it down and making sure everything works properly. So we'll just test it, have a look at it with a multimeter, or if you've got a scan gauge or anything like that, you should be able to see your initial voltage, whatever your battery is, say 12.5 volts, and then once you start it should be up around 13.8, 14.2 volts, somewhere in that range, if it's all working well. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Yeah guys, one little trick I like to do just when you're torquing this up, before you drop it down, okay, so make sure you do up all those bolts before you drop the car down. I just like to do this little trick, alright, because I don't have anyone to help me do this, so just jam a bit of wood on the brake pedal, alright, slide the seat forward, if I can do that. And see, that'll lock that front wheel in position. It's not going to turn now at all, right? It's rock solid. Shaking the camera around, but if I try and move that wheel, it's not going anywhere. So now I can just torque these up. All right, just get in there and get it to that 112 Newton meters. There we go. And I'll just work my way around, in the typical star pattern, doing all these up. So now I'm just going to test my battery, see where it's at. It's been parked here for a few days, so I've had the some stuff running the whole time, so it's probably going to be a little bit low. All right, there we go, 12.18. So yeah, look, probably needs a charge, but we'll get that sorted out a little bit later. I'll start it up now, and we'll have a look at what we're getting. All right guys, so that's all running fine. Looks like it's running fine. Sounds like it's running fine. As you can see, we're getting good charge there, around 14.2. The battery's a bit low, so alternator's throwing it in there now. And if we come over here and just have a bit of a look, you can see down there that the everything looks good. Alternator's doing its job as it should. And yeah, that's it guys, job done. So I hope that helped someone. Enjoy. Bada bing, bada boom.